Hi, this is Connie, and welcome to RedHorse. I'm going to show you how to email to a distribution list in RedHorse. There are many ways to send an email to a group of contacts in RedHorse. We have email merging from the main toolbar. We can send to a group in the Groups window or a filter in the Filters window, and a few other ways as well. We have videos on each method you can use. In this video, I want to show you one of those many ways to send an email to a group in the style that you would call a distribution list. We will be using the Create New Email dialog to compose a new email, selecting a group, and then sending the mail. I'll show you the flexible options that you can use to choose the style in which the email would be sent. First, we need to begin with a group for our distribution list. I'm logged in as Jack, and in the Queries and Groups window, we can see that Jack has a group called Staff Distribution List. This list includes all of the contacts that work at his company, We Do Manufacturing. We will use this group as our distribution list. We also need an email ready to send. So that we can focus on the distribution list part of this exercise rather than the content of the email, I've created an email template with a sample message that Jack might want to send to all the employees at his company about a company picnic. We can see that in the email center on the left under Templates for Jack. Now we're ready to look at how we can send an email to the list. I'm going to use the main menu bar to launch a new email window by going to Actions, Send Email. I'm going to select the template. Now we can start to add the recipients. To send this email to the distribution list group that Jack has created, I'm going to click the Filters and Groups button in the Recipients box. This is the picture to the right of the To box. You can see my mouse become a pointing finger icon over the image. When I click it, it opens the Filters and Groups area to the right. Let's close my drawer to give the email window more room. You can see we can choose from a filter or group. And for this purpose, I want to select Group and then select the Staff Distribution List. We can see that there's 13 contacts in the group. If we click the hyperlink with the contact count, we can see a preview of who is in the group to be sure we pick the right one. Now let's look at the choices we have to the right. The first choice is one email per recipient. With this option, each contact in the group, or staff member in this case, will receive an individual email where they are the only recipient. Jack will be sending out 13 emails. You can see that the To and the CC boxes are disabled when we use this option. A distribution list, by definition, allows a user to maintain a list of email addresses and send messages to all of them at once. It's usually for one-way traffic and not for coordinating a discussion. This style of one email per recipient achieves this goal. If we like this option of one email per recipient, we can hit Send. This is one way of sending to a distribution list. I'm going to queue so that we can see what that looks like in the outbox. You can see at the bottom our queue progress as they go into the outbox. Now let's go to the outbox, and we can see that there's 13 email messages ready to send, one to each member of the group or member of the staff. Now I'm going to clear those and start our email over again and look at the other options we have for sending an email as a distribution list. I'm going to select all and click Delete. I'm going to start my email over again. Select the template. Click the Filters and Groups. Select my distribution list. The other option we have is to include all recipients on one email. When we choose this option, we have 3 ways in which we can include the recipients on the email. And these options determine whether everyone on the email can see the other recipients or whether they see only themselves as the recipient. If we want to stay with the stricter definition of a distribution list, where it is not for coordinating a discussion, we may not want all of the recipients to see the other people who were sent this email. We can do that with this option by choosing Add VCCs. Let's use this and see how it looks. We now have an email with every staff member as a VCC. We still need a primary recipient, and we will add Jack's address as the primary recipient. That's often how a distribution list is done. Let's queue and see what ends up in the outbox. Let's refresh the outbox. We only find one email. We see Jack as the sender and recipient, and the VCCs are all attached to the email, but they're not visible in this view. When we open the email create dialog again, though, we can see that this email is linked to all of 13 recipients on the email. But because they're being sent as a VCC, no one can see the other recipients besides their own email address when they get sent this. This matches the true definition of a distribution list. At RedHorse, we would like to allow you the choice if you would like to send this in a different manner. So although the strict definition of a distribution list is that no one sees anyone else and it's not a discussion, you can make that choice to send an email in that style in RedHorse. I'd like to show you how. So again, we're going to delete this email, and now I'm going to start it over again and show you how to do that. I'm going to choose my distribution list. I'm going to select all recipients on one email. And this time I'm going to choose the option to add CCs. Now we have an email with everyone in the list as a CC. We still need a primary too. So let's add Jack again in as our primary recipient. Let's queue again and see what it looks like. Refresh our outbox. Now we can see a single email with the sender and recipient as Jack, and we can see a list of CC addresses on this email. Each person who receives this email will see everyone else as a recipient and be able to reply to all and be able to coordinate about the email if that's the style that we'd like to use. There's one more option that we haven't looked at yet. Let's start again. Create our new email, select our template, our distribution list. This time, we're going to use the button to add all of the members of the group as 2 addresses on the email. Now everyone in the list, rather than being a CC or a BCC, is a 2. And the first person in the list has been made the primary 2 recipient. Let's queue, refresh the outbox, and we can now see that our new email has Jack as the sender and has each staff member as a 2 recipient here. Each of these options, as you can see, will send one email with all recipients on a single email. And you can choose how they show up on the email and whether each recipient can see the others or not. So far, in all of the examples we've looked at, we've been using a group. I want to show you that you also can do the same thing with a filter rather than with a group. You select your Filters or Groups button. So far, we've been selecting a group that's a distribution list, but we could choose a filter. We could pick our filter, and we have the same option to send one email per recipient or all recipients on one email. We've talked a lot about how the email will look when it's received by the different recipients and whether they'll see each other or not on the email. I also want to talk about how this will look in RedHorse once these have been sent out, whether it's a BCC or a CC or a to address. We often want to make sure that we'll see these emails on the history of everyone who receives the email and not have to read the email or wonder who it went to. All we need to do is go to their history. There's a very important option in the email preferences that lets us do that, and I want to show you where that is. When we click the Settings button in the Email Center, this brings up the Email Maintenance dialog. When we go to Settings, Sending, Other Settings, we see that we can link an inbound and outbound email to the following recipients: the primary to recipient only, all to recipients, or all to CC and BCC recipients. This is one of the most powerful and highly used functions in RedHorse, to be able to automatically link emails to everyone that it was received by or sent to, and not have to do this manually. Most CRM and email applications only have the first option. They link to just the person it was sent by or sent to. RedHorse lets you use this setting to link to everyone. What that means is that whether you choose BCC, CC, or to, as we did in these examples, the email will always show up on every contact that receives the email. That's distribution lists in RedHorse. Thanks for watching.